All right, perfect. I'm pumped to be here. If you want this, again, it's right up front, and I've got a QR at the end as well. But today we're talking about building a massively transformative purpose, or an MTP, as you will soon figure this out. This is close to my heart. My personal purpose is helping others find happiness and purpose in their life. That's my MTP, my massively transformative purpose. You'll have a sentence like that at the end of this session, I promise. We're going to do like 15 minutes of me explaining a lot of neuroscience to you. Please, I will give you the slides. Look at me and let's talk together. I'll give you all the slides. It's a lot of information. I just want to give you the underlying neural mechanisms of what's going on as we dive further into like what a purpose is. And by the end, I want you to understand it's not rocket science. It's not kumbaya in the forest. Like a purpose is brain science. It really, really is brain science and neurochemistry. So we'll talk more about that today. My background is my neuroscience, cognitive behavioral neuroscience. I work with people like in my day job at a company called Mind, Brain, Body Lab that I run. We help people after abusive relationships and with childhood trauma, kind of restore balance to their nervous system. Come on in.
Is this 146?
It is 146. You're good, welcome. Glad to have you. But I help people restore balance to their nervous system to heal trauma. So it's a fun time. To help people. It's not always fun for them going through it, but that's my background. And so purpose is really close to me, and this is why. This is why purpose matters to me. When I was young, I read this quote, and it hit me in the stomach so hard, it hurt. And this is what really drove me forward. I'll read it to you so you don't have to read it, but this is one that really got me going. When you're young, your potential is infinite. You might do anything, really. You might be Einstein, you might be DiMaggio. Then you get to an age when what you might be gives way to what you have been. You weren't Einstein, you weren't anything. That's a bad moment. It just gives me goosebumps, hurts my stomach just to read it right now. I don't want anyone to feel this way ever. I don't want myself to feel this way. And so I'm really passionate about helping people find purpose for this exact reason. Because we only have one life. And you only get one shot. And I hope, the scientist in me is hoping you're sleeping for 1/3 of it. It's really good for your brain if you haven't heard. The other 2/3, you get to choose what to do with the remaining 2/3. And that's why that, to me, is like the only question that matters. It's like, what are you doing? Why are you waking up in the morning? How are you helping other people? Helping other people will be a really big piece of what we're talking about here. All right, so what is purpose? Get this question all the time. People have tons of different opinions about it. Questions, comments, concerns, but what is purpose? It's a great question. When you think about what purpose is, it's easy to start with like what it isn't. So it's not just career success, academic success, being busy, financial goals, like I mentioned. One of my favorite words or phrases is kumbaya in the forest. I'll say that a lot today because it's just not that. I'm a very rational, pragmatic person, and your purpose can be that way as well. Social activism, pleasure seeking, public recognition, all cool things, but they do not qualify as purpose. Purpose is, let me let these people in real quick. Purpose is wired into your neurobiology by evolution, like literally. It is not any of the things we just talked about. It is neurobiological. It is wired in. So there's something called self-determination theory. Again, lots more information than you need to read on the screen. But the bottom line is that we have an innate desire for caring and connecting. So these two guys in the mid-1980s or so, these two MDs, came up with this theory. And they came up with a lot of research behind self-determination theory. And what it suggests is that at a biological level, we need to relate to others to survive and thrive. So think about early humans, right? Maybe not everyone thinks about that as much as me, but when we were in tribes, the reason we survived is because we grouped up. We paired up together, and a group of us was able to outcompete an individual. And so we were able to care and connect for one another and thrive and beat resource scarcity, which will be a huge theme that we'll talk about. So neurochemically, we are motivated to fulfill this need. And so that makes our purpose, everybody's purpose, caring and connecting for other people. And the other piece of this is the desire for what we do to matter to other people. Because if you knew that I was good at caring and connecting for other people, you'd invite me into your tribe, and I was more likely to survive. It's that simple, if you will. We're going to go in a little bit deeper here, but big picture, when you are following this purpose and you're actually fulfilling this need, this biological evolutionary need, these things, there's a 500% increase in every single one of these. Motivation, productivity, creativity, innovation, learning, memory, all the things, cooperation, collaboration, and life satisfaction. Why is that? What is it about purpose? It's a flow state at the end of the day. And the reason it puts us into a flow state is to solve resource scarcity. At all times, all of us are trying to solve resource scarcity. It's just how we're wired. It's our largest threat to survival. It's not as large of a threat anymore, especially here, maybe not every single part of the world, but in the US especially, it is not generally our largest threat to survival anymore, but in an evolutionary sense, it absolutely is. This makes it the largest driver for evolution and is why we get into a flow state. Because to survive all of these things, when we increase all of these things inside of a flow state, it's really good for beating resource scarcity. In a flow state, you're able to fight. Like if we have to, back in the day, if we had to literally fight over resources, that meant I survived and my tribe survived and yours did not, right? So being in a flow state and being able to have these things boosted 500%, our neurobiology was like, it's a good idea. We should keep doing that. Same thing if you need to run away. If you're on the tail end of that fight and you had to get away, or you needed to innovate to create more resources, or you needed to explore to find more resources. A flow state is all of these things boosted by 500%, and the reason why evolutionarily flow and purpose is so powerful. And so let's just simplify it. I love circles, I love cycles, because everything in the world is a cycle. Let's just simplify evolution. If we want to survive more, that means we beat resource scarcity more often, which means we have more purpose, which again, at the base layer of every human on earth, in every single one of us, the core, and I've made hundreds of purpose statements with hundreds of companies and people, at the core of every single one of them, it comes back to helping others care and connect for one another. And when you're going for recognition or money, guess what? They end up not fulfilled. They do not like the result of what they got to because they were fighting against their neurobiology. So for more survival, to beat resource scarcity and have resources, we want more purpose, which means we care and connect for others more, which means we put into a flow state more often. And if we're in a flow state more often, we survive more, which means we have more purpose, which means we have more flow, which means we survive. You get the point. It's a cycle. It's a virtuous cycle, and it can be a virtuous cycle. Does this make sense so far? Okay. I talk real fast when I get excited, so just go like this if I need to chill. But otherwise, let's keep going. So underneath the flow state and underneath this fighting for our survival, the four basic drivers. The three of these we'll talk a lot about today, but there's really four. The first one is fear, just at a straight up level. Wanting to survive, that drives us all. Fear is the most potent driver. We're not going to talk a ton about it today. We're going to talk more about using curiosity, passions, and purpose to create a MTP or a Massively Transformative Purpose. But I do use fear a lot as well. Fear, you think of Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, these people are visualizing fear constantly and failure constantly. And it's really motivational. Fear journaling, you can use some of these tools. I'm not going to go into it a ton today, but I just want to be clear. Fear is one of our most primal, potent motivators and human drivers. Curiosity, passions, and purpose are the other ones. Why is that? So curiosity is a driver because if you don't have resources and you're trying to solve that problem, being curious makes a lot of sense. Where might there be more resources? Could I actually take on that person if we fought? Where should I go explore next? What skills do I need to learn? Curiosity, again, helped us survive by helping us beat resource scarcity. Same thing for passion. If you're thinking about passion, once you figured out, okay, I need to learn these skills, becoming passionate about learning those skills, if you were the farmer or you were the hunter or you were watching the kids or you were the shaman, the religious person, being passionate about that role was super, super helpful as you were caring and connecting for the tribe, because the more passionate you were, the more likely your brain took you down that path, the more likely you were to survive, the more likely you were getting a flow state, and that cycle is working for you again. So that's passions. And then same thing with purpose. We already talked about purpose, caring and connecting for others and having other people realize, oh, that dude or that girl is really, really good at caring and connecting for other people. And that helps people, that helps us attack our purpose and survive again. So these are basic underlying human drivers. And these drivers are what put us into a flow state. So when people wake up on purpose, which I like to say, is that they're constantly getting to be in a flow state and they're learning to addict themselves to their purpose. And you're getting, when you're living on purpose, you're getting the benefits of evolution and the flow state that generations of us have been fighting for a very, very long time. So if you just think about this, curiosity is fun, okay? So just to put it like in the real world here for a second, curiosity requires effort, but it feels like play. Like when you're actually curious about something, you spend hours and hours researching, looking at it, and it doesn't even have to be like, oh, I'm a bookworm. Curiosity is also peaked at the end of a Netflix show that you then watch the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and then wait, you realize, oh crap, it's 2 a.m., what the hell? I can't be the only one that's done that every once in a while, right? It's curiosity. There are neuroscientists at Netflix working against you. Let's just be blunt. And they're using this because curiosity is such a potent driver of our behavior, and it pulls us in that direction. We're going to put this on your team today so that you're not just being like whipped around by these companies or whatever, but this is just a really great example that curiosity can be super high, but your perceived effort is very, very low. And feeling that way about your purpose, I wake up every morning, I'm like, happiness, purpose, how can I help people create happiness and purpose in their life? And every single calendar event in my calendar helps me do that. And I'm curious about it. How could I do that? How could I do it better? How could I expand my impact? It doesn't even feel like I work. Like I love it. Being here today helps me do that because I'm curious about it and it feels like play. And you can create a purpose. People say this all the time, oh, do something that feels like play. Okay, how do you pragmatically do that, step by step? That's what we're gonna do today, here in a second. So why does this matter? Because you can stack these. You can stack these core drivers and put them on your team. We are no longer fighting for our survival like we used to have to fight for so hard. There are not lions, tigers, and bears coming after us at all times. Like you look both ways before you cross the street. Like maybe a car's coming after you, but primarily we are surviving easier than our ancestors did. And so today we can take advantage of this resource abundant world because there's less resource scarcity here. And we can stack all of these drivers. The biggest one, like I mentioned, is fear. So I wanted to this is maybe one of the last times I'll show you fear right here because it is one of the most potent. But we're really going to focus on curiosity, passions, and purpose here for the rest of our time together. Because after our basic needs are met, this is apparent. Like when you look at research from jobs or from inside of companies, once you hit a certain income level, the happiness number used to be 75K. Now there's a lot more researches, like maybe it's 150K, 200K. Regardless, there is a certain extrinsic number that when you hit it, you no longer care as much. Like just bottom line it. It's like, okay, more money isn't gonna help me that much more past this level. And so all of a sudden you start to see these huge, big level, once people hit that inside of a company, you see people wanting to work on projects that interest them because it's curiosity and passion. They've beaten that bottom, they've beaten fear, so now they're like, okay, let's go up to curiosity and passion because that's their next driver. They beat the fear, so now that's their next potent driver. Next up is working on projects that actually matter. Like just working on something that you're just slaving away all day at that doesn't really connect anything bigger starts to not feel so great, especially once you've beaten that base level fear and you've gotten a certain level of you've beaten a certain level of that resource scarcity. And then we're not going to talk a ton about this one either, but I wanted to mention it, to be in control of your own time. So autonomy, that's really, really big. If you feel like you're always being told what you have to do, you don't feel like you have control, and we want control. To get to true autonomy, you have to clearly define your purpose and what you want to be doing before you can even try for autonomy. So today, again, I only have so much time. So we're going to focus on curiosity, passions, and purpose for today's purposes. All right, so that's a lot of psychology, which my background is brain science, so I love psychology, but let's talk a little bit more about neuroscience. Purpose also alters your brain, so it does some really cool stuff. Like when you're living on purpose, it decreases the reactivity of your amygdala, which increases your resilience, so allows you to push through adversity easier. It increases the size of your insular cortex, which sits underneath all of your other cortexes in the front of your brain. This helps protect you against depression. which is awesome, especially since there was a 300% increase in the last 3 years of depression. So decreases in the medial temporal lobe, so the mid portion of the side-ish of your brain, like right in this area. This alters the way that you filter information, which is so freaking cool because everything is filtered through your purpose once you've got it. And so it's like all of these different things, everything that you go to, every session you've been here, if you've got a clear purpose, I'm trying to connect to, okay, I'm watching the information, how will this information help me help more people get happiness and purpose in their life? And I filter all information through that. Having a clear MTP or a massively transformative purpose can help you do that, literally by altering your brain so you filter information differently. You can see that in scans and all sorts of things. It's awesome. You're probably not as excited as I am about a brain scan, but I promise it's really cool. And then increase in activity of the executive attention network. This is interesting because this decreases rumination. So the majority of people that I work with, because I work with tons of people, are taking what happened to them in the past, projecting that out into the future, and then living in that future of past crap happening in the future and not being here in the present. Having a clear purpose allows you to ixnay that and allows you to increase activity of your executive attention network, meaning you can focus easier and you can be in the present moment easier and move forward step by step much easier. So this is one of the ways. This is, again, an overwhelming slide. I promise you we're going to talk a little bit about neurochemicals, and I will explain these to you. On the next slide, I've got real-world examples. But these are the chemical tools that we'll be using today to put on your team. These are tools, these 5 chemicals, I promise, are in front of a spreadsheet of neuroscientists working at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all the places, because they are so potent and they underlie everything that we've talked about so far. So dopamine is driving us. A lot of people think dopamine is all about pleasure. It's not necessarily just about pleasure. It drives us towards pleasure. It moves us towards things. It's not just like a pleasure chemical. The reason we associate it with pleasure is because it pulls us towards pleasure, but it itself is the driving factor, not necessarily the feeling of pleasure itself necessarily. And away from pain. That's the other big one. Away from pain. If something hurt me last time, we'll lay down some dopamine. Don't go that way. If something was really, really awesome, we'll lay down some dopamine, go that way. It's like go, no go, go, no go. That's dopamine, and that drives you towards it. Norepinephrine, please, I have no idea why. Biologists and neuroscientists decided to name adrenaline in the brain norepinephrine, but it's the same thing. Adrenaline in your brain is norepinephrine. It's like, why? But they did it, and I'm just here presenting about this. But it is increases alertness and focus. That's the biggest thing that you need to know. Adding dopamine and epinephrine together equals passion. Serotonin, this is the feel-good chemical, the blissful chemical. Oxytocin is the pair-bonding chemical. You're feeling it when you're in love. It's the love chemical, the Cupid chemical. A lot of people hear that or understand that about oxytocin, but it really increases, bottom line, collaboration and cooperation as well. So that's really, really important. It's not just love. And then endorphins and anandamide, these are painkillers, like runner's high, those types of feelings, the blissful feeling that you have. This is a simpler way to understand these things. Dopamine is the ping. When your phone pings, you're like, oh, what is that? What is that? I gotta go check this. Or when you're doom scrolling on social media, I've gotten scoliosis before, I feel you. I get it. It's dopamine. That is dopamine, that urge to keep going forward. And every once in a while, because again, you got neuroscientists working against you here, there will be something that explodes, or a giant fight, or a giant argument. You're like, and that is because they want to increase dopamine. So then you're scrolling through all your family pictures, and your brain is subconsciously wondering, when is the next explosion going to happen? And that keeps you scrolling, right? And so that's dopamine. That feeling is dopamine. Next up is epinephrine. This is when you're obsessed with an idea, or you just met someone. You're out in the dating, you met someone like, oh my gosh, this person is awesome. I can't stop thinking about them. That's epinephrine. It's pulling you towards that. It's making you passionate about that thing. Serotonin is that satiated feeling that's after a good meal or like a great orgasm, and it's what makes you want to fall asleep after these things as well. Next week for Thanksgiving, a lot of us will be feeling a lot of this one and probably oxytocin. This is part of why. Like you eat that Thanksgiving meal, you're like, damn, I need to take a nap. Like, is that just me? There's also tryptophan in turkey, but I digress. Oxytocin, another one that's probably pretty prevalent, but hugging, kissing, high-fiving, all of those types of things with someone you love, or a team, or quality time with friends and family, oxytocin. what you're feeling. And then endorphins and anandamide, like I mentioned, runner's high. When you catch that second win, you're like, let's go, I'm pumped. I'm pumped. That's anandamides and endorphins. Again, understanding these, there's not a quiz. I just want you to understand there is true, like, pragmatic chemicals underneath what you're about to create when you create this purpose. We're going to use every single one of these on purpose today. More importantly than individual neurochemicals, because evolution is a blunt force tool, putting individual neurochemicals is great, but we've also learned to pair them together. So cocktails are always better, are always better than just one chemical or another. Dopamine and oxytocin, if I'm trying to help someone play, I'm trying to pique their curiosity. So what did you like to do as a kid? Did you like to explore? Did you like to collect things? Like curiosity, and then having them do it with a friend, a family, like someone to help them learn how to play again as an adult, which I do all the time, which is wild, but that's oxytocin and dopamine. Epinephrine, and dopamine is passion. We're going to use this one a lot today. When you pair those two things together, you get what you're passionate about, what you wake up for, what rewards you constantly. And then all 6 at once is a flow state. All 6 of those chemicals firing at the perfect dosages, which is slightly different for everybody, puts you into a flow state. And again, we've talked about what a flow state does and why a flow state is important, because when we simplify evolution, we're trying to solve resource scarcity. So we're trying to care and connect more because that helps us survive more. Puts us into more of a flow state because fight, flight, explore, and innovate are the best ways to beat resource scarcity. And so again, that is why these neurochemicals, why all of our purpose is similar when you break it down to the bottom layer. So today what we're going to do to create a massively transformative purpose, I'm going to stop talking because I'm getting tired, is how to stack these neurochemicals. This is, I like to call it addicting yourself to your purpose, which is like extreme because I do a ton of marketing, so I've got to be extreme. But addicting yourself to your purpose, you can do that by using your biology and your neurochemistry. So we're going to start with curiosities here in just a second. And because this is where your biology starts. This is where everybody starts, is curiosity. Like, I'm curious about that, right? Some level of curiosity got your butt in the seat here today. It's where we start. So we'll start there with some dopamine. Then we're going to add in some epinephrine, like I mentioned, add in some fire to create a passion by combining your curiosities and where they cross over. Then we're going to work on adding in some oxytocin, some serotonin, by solving big problems, huge problems, impossible problems. I'm very passionate about impossible problems because the bigger the problem is, the more likely other people will be like, oh, that would help other people, help me help other people care and connect more, and be rewarded for that with recognition, because that's still the underlying driving factor of all of us for our purpose. And then our MTP, or Massively Transformative Purpose, will add in the rest of the chemicals, which will help you increase focus, productivity, and resilience over time. Any questions? You have a BA now in some basic neuroscience. How do you feel? All right, hopefully overwhelmed. No, I'm kidding. So our vehicle, it's going to get a lot more simple now. Our vehicle today is an MTP, or a Massively Transformative Purpose. So as any scientist would do, let's break down the word. Massive is audacious, large, and impossible, using that word on purpose. We'll get to that in a second. Transformative is able to bring significant change to an industry, community, or the planet. And then purpose is the clear why behind what you're doing. And as we have discussed, the clear why behind what every single person does is to care and connect for other people, and to have other people realize, oh, that person's good at caring and connecting for other people. It's what drives us intrinsically at a neurobiological level. Some examples of some, and these are DALL-E images, or AI images, so they like to be a little extreme, but I love this one. But these are some examples of some MTPs of companies you might be familiar with. SpaceX, to revolutionize space technology with the ultimate goal of enabling people to live on other planets. That's their MTP that drives the whole company. And they break all their goals down like we will here at the end of this conversation as well. Create a human AI operating system to unite humanity, shift human evolution, and help everyone achieve happiness and purpose in their life. That's my company's MTP, Mind Brain Body Lab. Write books that have deep impact. That's Stephen Kotler. Love that guy. He talks a lot about purpose and performance and achieving impossible things. And then advance the science and training of flow. That's a Flow Research Collective. These are some examples. I've gotten thousands of them. You'll have a sentence just like this by the time we're done here together as well. But these are just some examples of some MTPs. So why impossible? This is the last thing I want to put in your mind here. This guy, Stephen Kotler, studies people who achieve impossible things. Like, he studied the first person to get the 4-minute mile, and he studied the phenomenon of why that happened. He runs the Flow Research Collective. And what he has found is that each of us, right here, right now, contain the possibility of extraordinary, yet this extraordinary capability is an emergent property, one that only arises when we push ourselves towards the edge of our abilities. The only real way to discover you're capable of pulling off the impossible is attempting to do it. Like, every one of us can do it in here, I promise. And being able to set that as your North Star is the only way, and then going to try and do it is the only way to get flow and to get the benefits of all the stuff that we've talked about, is trying to achieve really impossible things. The other thing an MTP is really, really, really good for is a rallying cry. Getting outside assistance is you're going to need a lot of help if you're trying to achieve impossible things. The beautiful thing about an MTP is that it is based on the underlying need to care and connect for other people and have other people recognize that you are good at caring and connecting for other people. And so if you have a gigantic MTP, other people are going to be like, oh my gosh, like, if I help that person do that thing, I too will be achieving my purpose, because everybody's purpose is the same, because we all have brains, we all have nervous systems. And so it's really important to think about these things whenever you are, one second, let me go back. Whenever you are working through, skip ahead, whenever you're working through what your purpose is. Dang. There's so many slides I've gotten through already. Okay, almost there. Okay, so you're going to need help, and the beautiful thing about getting more help is the more help you have, the more of the chemicals we've been talking about you release. Because again, we are tribal. When we got together and grouped up as a tribe, we released more oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine, epinephrine together. We were able to care and connect better together. And so coming together in groups is another way to help yourself achieve your MTP more effectively again. All right, enough talking. Let's create one of these bad boys. This is going to be a fun time. I'm going to be walking around a lot here. I'm going to have a couple more sections where I talk a little bit, but we're going to be working together a ton here. So big picture, what we're going to go through here is, I already gave you the preamble, but curiosity, passions. I'm going to talk a little bit again to show you how to play at the intersections of these things. We're going to talk about problems, and then finally we'll have your MTP. So the first thing that we're going to do, if you've scanned the QR code, you should already have kind of the list. Let me just grab one of these. But on the first page, you've got, I don't know if this is actually 25 lines. I'm not that detail oriented, but we've got, on this page, you can start to write out your curiosities. If you've already got some in your head, awesome. If not, I'll walk around and help you. But what you're going to try and do is just brain dump as many topics that you might want to dive into over a weekend. What's something that maybe you would go and spend a weekend learning more about? Or what's something that you would love to be able to talk to an expert about and ask them some questions on? Be specific, be very detailed if you can, and if you have your phone or access to a computer and you want to jump on ChatGPT, a great way to help get the ball rolling is just asking ChatGPT. Give it some basic things like, oh, I'm kind of curious about these things. What topics could I research more in this field? So go ahead and you could do that. No problem at all. Some basic examples that I put way too small in here would be pass blocking mechanics required to play left tackle, right? Way more specific than you thought, right? Okay. Next is the potential for grasshoppers to become a primary human food source in the next 10 years. I have a crazy mind. Some other less crazy ones, you'll notice, this is my actual curiosities list, would help me create mine. You'll notice most of mine are brain-based, neuroscience-based. I run an AI company, so there's a lot of technology stuff in here as well. So these are some of my personal ones, like wearable neurotechnology for mood enhancement, wearing one right now. The sociology of cyborg can't even try and say that word. No, I'm not going to try. Quantum computing applications in neuroscience, super, super interesting. This is my list. You don't have to steal mine. I created some crazy ones too. Where's my favorite? The art and science of glass blowing. I've had someone that be one of their curiosities, and they created a purpose around it, and they now help inner city kids become entrepreneurs through glass blowing. And it started with this curiosity. Okay, like I promise, we'll get there. The science of coffee, ethical hacking, restorative justice practices, urban beekeeping, the physics of surfing. That's another one that's, there's a startup in the making with that one. Wildlife conservation techniques. Take a couple minutes here and start to write these down. I'll walk around if you have questions on this, but just your top 5 curiosities. Does anybody need one of these, by the way? You got one back here. Need that? I think I only have one more. Okay, I'll go back to the QR code. Shout out any questions y'all have too. So yeah, I can email this to you, but what I did essentially was I gave it my intent. I'm trying to create a massively transformative purpose by outlining 25 curiosities that I have or that I might be able to dive into and research over the weekend, and then period. And then I put, I'm interested, big picture, in these topics. And for me, I said neuroscience, AI, quantum technology, startups. So give it some of your basic things that you're kind of curious about, and then it can give you cross over some stuff. Yeah. I was thinking about doing it live, but ChatGPT's been running real slow since developer day, so I couldn't do it. I'm kidding. I know, dude. We're a team here. Hydration Nation. You're doing great. No questions asked. Any questions over here? We good? Beautiful. Jackie's doing what I would be doing on my iPad.
Of course.
I love it. Good work. All right, we're going to go for another minute. 60 seconds. Ten seconds. All right. Time. You guys have plenty of time to write some more of these as we go. You, my friend, are doing great. No, like whole sheet. That's beautiful. Notice we have some lefties in here too. No neuroscience research is based on left-handed people. Fun fact. I see you. Science doesn't see you, but I do. So, does anybody have a curiosity they want to share? I've shared like all of mine, so. Just saying, like I started out. What's up, Jackie? How to train cats. That's beautiful. I've had someone how to train dolphins before, so cats is even crazier and less wet, so that's cool. What else? What do we got?
The ADHD brain and how to use it to your advantage, and also how ADHD people, how non-ADHD people can relate to ADHD people and like in relationships and stuff.
That is beautiful. I love that. It's awesome. These are great. Anyone else? I'm not going to force anybody yet, but what do we got? Say it again?
Plastic-free packaging.
Love it. Thank you. That's great. I love it. We have one over here?
Yeah, how much of water do you like?
Whoo! Do you want that answer? Like, stop breathing. No, I'm kidding. Anything else? Anybody else? These are great. This is perfect. We got a good, oh.
Cannabinoids and the impact on our brains and bodies.
Whoo! That's a great one. I love that.
I'll follow that one with psychedelics, consciousness, and nature.
My man, after my own heart. I love it. That's great. All right. Okay, cool. Those are some great curiosities. This is going to be perfect. You guys are a great crew. I love it. Sometimes in like corporate environments, I have to like kick them in the ass a little bit more, but this is awesome. Good work. Good work. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start to not shrink down your curiosities list. What we're going to do is look at the curiosities that you wrote down and see where they might intersect. Is there a way that some of your curiosities could cross over with one another? And it's like a megazord where you can like bring them together and create a even larger thing. Because when you can stack multiple curiosities together, guess what? You get double the dopamine, double the epinephrine, double the oxytocin. So are there ways that you could crisscross these? Here are some examples. So could urban beekeeping be used as a wildlife conservation technique? Could restorative justice practices utilize ethical hacking in rehabilitation? Could neuroscience and AI research work with one another? The art and science of glass blowing and the perfect coffee cup? The high-speed rail technology, how high-speed rail technology might have an effect on wildlife and put with less semis on the road. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. Like, I'm not perfect at this, but what we're going to do now is take a second here and start just crisscrossing and seeing if you can meld any of your curiosities together. See if you can get 10. See if you can get 2. Like 10 is just like I put enough lines on the thing for you to get wild because I'm wild. But take another couple minutes here and start looking for crossovers, and then I'm going to talk to you about how to plane the intersections of your curiosities and passion. So 5 minutes. Go. The timer has started. And it's on the next page of the handout, by the way, if I wasn't clear about that. All right, 10 more seconds. All righty. Time. All right, good work. Anybody have one passion? One attempt. Just be a kid again.
Okay. Could we reverse physical aging by a deeper understanding of the energetic body to rebuild and rehab?
Whoo! Let's go. Research would suggest yes. Biofield research.
I agree.
You got one?
All right, you'll like this one. Okay.
Bet.
So, could animals heal your attachment style?
Wow. That is very interesting. There is some cool research on that out and about right now, so I do like that one. Okay, cool. We're doing good. We got the creative juices flowing. Like, I can feel the dopamine and epinephrine in your brains. So let's start to play at the intersections. So now that you've got your passions, and again, you can keep doing this outside of this room, playing at the intersection. So taking 20, 30 minutes a day to listen to podcasts, watch videos, read articles, books on these topics. Take time to follow those curiosities and those passions and learn more about these things. This is called incubation, and your brain is really freaking good at it. So use it and use the dopamine and epinephrine of the excitement of these things to follow those trailheads. I would suggest that you focus on the history and the terms of the things that you're working on. So, for example, we were talking about early humans. So if you knew that Homo sapiens meant curious apes, a lot of my presentation today would make a lot of sense to you, because curiosity drove the apes in us to find the purpose and do the things that we've done. And that's because I know the term, like I can break that term down. So looking at the terms of any of the things, some of the big picture terms is a really great place to start, and the history. Everything is based on history so far. Everything we know was learned yesterday or the day before, or from the beginning of this presentation to literally this present moment. That's history, right? So study the history of these things. Those are some really good places to look. Not just because that there's a lot of that information out there, but it also allows you to start to have conversations with experts and people in the field a little bit easier, a little bit simpler, and get to a deeper level of conversation than if you're just talking really surface level. So those would be some things I'd suggest as far as the intersections. And then get in public, talk to strangers, which is something that I do often, but not everyone's comfortable with yet, I get it. Tell a few friends, talk about your ideas, join an online community, or, like we're going to do right now, create an information session. So this is an informational deck. Plan it for the first week of December. I don't really care when, but what I want us to do right now, you two can't be together, I'm watching you, is book some time with someone next to you. If there's an odd number, you get to meet with me, the odd person out, and set an hour meeting. Create an informational deck. Each person gets 30 minutes and share your passion and curiosity, whatever it was. What did you find? So take a second right now. We're going to take 2 seconds here and book some time. Pair them up. I'm serious. Get your phones out. We're entrepreneurs. Connect. You want to go with her? Oh, one of these. Take as many as you want. All right, start wrapping up. Grab each other's info. All right, here we go. Good work. 3, 2, 1. Back up here. Grab each other's information. Starting to get quieter. Here we go. We're doing good. We're doing good. All right. Grab each other's information if you don't have it yet. Keep passing it around. Now we've got our next mission. Now that your curiosities and passions have been, we've got a lot of future positive things happening. I love it. Us entrepreneurs in Kansas City. Let's go. The next step in our journey here is to outline some problems. This is how we're going to start connecting stuff. You only got 5 of these. So when you're thinking of problems, think of humongous problems in the world that you want to see solved. Maybe it's your community or the world, but big impact that you can have. So I have some really basic ones. Revitalizing coral reefs, zero waste circular economies, education for every child, clearing space debris, which is a bigger problem than people know. Preserving indigenous languages, all right? So take a couple minutes and see if you can get a couple big ass problems written out on your sheets. We're just going to do a couple minutes on this one. Ten seconds. All right. Anybody have a problem they want to share? Just one. Okay, we got to go. Text stranglehold on our kids. I'll fight that battle with you. I feel you. I feel you. That's a good one. Okay, so now we've got curiosities, passions, problems outlined. The last step, the crescendo, is where your passions and your problems overlap. That's where your MTP is. So what you're going to do now, we're throwing in all the rest of the chemicals in the stew here, is you're going to look at your passions list, which is a stacking of your curiosities, and start to crisscross those with problems. Where could your personal obsession solve or be the solution to some collective problem? See if you can start to crisscross those together. Here again are some examples. You can take a couple minutes, you're going to write these down. This is as much of an art as it is a science. Just start writing. I promise you, if it's a paragraph at first, you can then get it down to 2 sentences, then 1 sentence, and you can simplify, but just start writing down where your passions could solve some problems. And here are some examples if you need some inspiration over the next couple minutes. All right, 10 seconds. All right. Anybody have a shot at bat on goal they want to share? No judgment. I love all of them. You got one?
Helping high performers use psychedelics to achieve their goals with ease.
Bro, hell yeah. Sign me up. Like, you see what I mean? Like, who's not motivated? Like I am.
It feels a lot crisper than what I had in the past.
Beautiful. And you can keep refining it for sure, but that's an awesome start for 45 minutes. So good work. Did you have one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Guiding individuals to reprogram their subconscious through affirmations using neuroscience principles to shift from autopilot to manifesting their dreams and creating a life based on their personal passions.
Nice. That's good. That's pretty good. Hey. Hey. Retweet. I love it. Good work. We're using tools. Curious apes we are. Who else? You got one?
Creating technology that removes animals from the supply chain.
Wow. Now that is a purpose a lot of people keep behind, I'm sure. I just got an invite to a vegan Thanksgiving, so you're already on the way. Anything else? No pressure. Okay, you got it.
Creating a social learning space for cannabis and food.
Boom. That's nice. Some good work. It is beautiful because you shared one of your curiosities and passions too, and you can see how that kind of carried through into your MTP. So good work. Good work, everybody. All right. This is a whole presentation on its own, but I did not want to just leave you with a random sentence. So I'm going to go through this really, not really quick, but pretty quick because we only have so much time, 5 minutes left. But there's a way to attack this. This is Elon Musk uses this in all of his companies. And this is how he breaks down his MTPs into what he should do every day. And so the process big picture is an MTP, then an HHG or a huge high goal, clear goals, and then a 3M, 1M process, which I added myself because I found it effective. So huge high goals, if you think of your MTP, let's pretend your MTP was bring more attention to climate change through visual storytelling. An HHG, these are milestones that take a year or more. So that could be becoming a documentary filmmaker or getting an ecology degree. That's an HHG on the way to this MTP, bringing more attention to climate change through visual storytelling. Clear goals are quarters or months at a time. So getting a 3-point GPA freshman year or read 10 filmmaking books in the next 90 days. Those are clear goals. Then the 3M, 1M, this is what are you doing today? What are the 3 most important things you've got to do today and the one thing you must get done today to achieve your clear goals, which will then help you achieve your HHGs, which will then help you achieve your purpose, your MTP. And so you can kind of work backwards. So if we put all of this together, let's pretend that becoming a great writer, that is becoming a great writer. That could be a massively transformative purpose. Writing a novel is a high, hard goal because that could take years to complete. Writing 500 words daily, Q1 and Q2 of 2024, that's a clear goal. Write 500 words between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. that produce a feeling of excitement in the reader. That's a 3M, 1M task. So that is huge purpose to multiple years, to quarters, and shrinking it down in a couple months, and then what you should be doing every single day. Does that make sense? Big picture. And I'm going to give you the slides too, so you can look back through this and create your own. When I work with people, I break this down over days. So we got 2 minutes here, but the process that you will then use, which I do this every day, is review your MTP, HHGs, and clear goals daily. I literally just created a recording. I wrote all of it out, created a recording of myself saying it. I put some motivational music because I'm an athlete and I love that shit. And I listen to it every morning, every single morning and every single night because that's when your brain is most open. You've got brain waves that are allowing, theta brain waves that are allowing stuff to get to your subconscious faster. Then, every single night, define your 3 most and 1 must for tomorrow, right? So organize tomorrow today. Define your 3 most, 1 must. So what did I get done today and what do I need to get done tomorrow? Limit your list to 3 to 8. 8 is extreme. I do 3 and I teach this stuff. It's not going to impress anybody if you do 8 or if you do 3. I promise you, 3 is okay. 5 is pushing it, 8 is max as far as your brain capacity. And then do your 1 must first, and then your 3 most, and then everything else. So what's the one thing? If I got that done, it'd be a huge dub. Cool. All right, then move on to the 3 most important things, and then anything else is icing on the cake. A note on burnout. When you are done, stop. Elon Musk plays a shit ton of video games. No one knows that, right? But when he's done with his 3M1M every day, he stops. Okay? Burning yourself out does not help you. It decreases the amount of available, guess which chemicals? Dopamine, epinephrine, serotonin, oxytocin, endorphins. And all of those are depleted when you're burnt out. So when you're done, stop and go fill your cup. Go do other things. The other thing, don't tell people about your goals. Tell them your purpose, okay? Lil Wayne said it best, though. Real G's move in silence like lasagna, right? They move in silence. Don't talk about your goals. Talk about your purpose. Talk about your goals with accountability partners and close friends and family, but going and sharing it with everybody gives you the dopamine you're supposed to get after right now. So then you're less motivated to go do the thing. So do not share your goals. Share your purpose. That's the point of a purpose, is to share your purpose, and then your goals, keep internal, keep close to the chest, because that will help keep dopamine in your brain so that you're more likely to wake up ready to go. And then finally, the big point here is impossible is, and this again, Stephen Kotler, love the dude, impossible is always a checklist. Do every item on your checklist today, do every item on your checklist tomorrow, and repeat. This is how clear goals become high-hard goals. Become high-hard achievements, which become milestones on the way to your massively transformative purpose. And this is how, hopefully now you see that a purpose is neuroscience. It is not rocket science. You did it today. 3 of you shared your purpose. Good work. If you guys have questions, please let me know. This is my information, like my everything. It's anywhere you go, though. It's mindbrainbodylab.com, on every single social media site, like everywhere. It's mindbrainbodylab. Good luck. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to stick around. I think we got 0 minutes and 0 seconds left, but happy to answer any questions.